So if you were paying attention at the weekend, you will have seen a Manchester United side that were far more dangerous than Manchester City. That was reflected in the stats, looking at the XG, which we have to remember doesn't even take into consideration a chance like this or a chance like this, because United didn't actually get the shot off in those situations. So United were really dangerous on the ball once in the final third against City. And I'm actually incredibly excited about our attack heading into this season because of some of the attacking principles we are seeing on display. What are those attacking principles? Let's take a look. So the first thing that excites me about the Manchester United attack this season is the different profiles we have across the front line. Last year we were a bit samey. You know, Rashford, Højlund, Garnacho all wanted to do the same thing. They all wanted to run in behind the opposition. This year it feels as though we have much more variety. That was on display at the weekend. We had Marcus Rashford, who loves running in behind into open space. We had Mason Mount, who is a very willing runner, making runs, selfless runs, off the ball into the final third. You've got Bruno Fernandes, who very much does both, but certainly likes coming towards the ball, and then Ahmad, who also wants to come towards the ball as well. This creates variety, which always creates problems for the opposition, because as you're the Manchester City defenders, you've got to consider someone like Mason Mount might run into this channel, but Ahmad is going to come short towards feet. That's a question for Gvardiol. Does he drop to cover the space in behind him, or does he go higher to engage with Ahmad? It's these little questions in games which causes problems, and we saw it to full effect in this game. As Bruno Fernandes picks the ball up on the right-hand side of the attack, he gets his head up, and the first thing he is going to see is runners in behind. Both Mason Mount and Marcus Rashford looking to make runs off the ball in behind the Manchester City defence. Now, of course, as a City defender, you have to drop, right? You have to drop deeper to kind of make up for this. You can't let Rashford and Mason Mount just run in behind you, so you've got to drop a little bit deeper. And this, for United, opens up a massive space in the middle of the pitch, which we will come back to a little bit later. But the next thing I want to talk about is Ahmad coming towards the ball, receiving the ball into feet. So Rashford and Mount went in behind, Ahmad offered that into feet option and picks up the ball in this area. And again, just recognise the space that is open in midfield, because we will look at that in 1 second. But first of all, we need to go back to something else. And that is United's ability to turn 1 versus 1 into 2 versus 2 situations out wide in the final third. This is really good, effective attacking play. I've spoken about it a lot in the past 6 months. There's other videos if you want to go see kind of more detail on this. But it's really good, effective play from United. And the whole time, this space has been opened up on the edge of the penalty area for Casemiro. And the reason this space was here was because Marcus Rashford and Mason Mount made the runs in behind at the start of the move. The different profiles caused a real issue. We had 2 that went in behind, and then others that came towards the ball to knit the move together. And you can see that kind of knitting effect here, as Casemiro plays the 1-2 with Ahmad, who then squares it. We don't quite get anything from this move, but the football was beautiful. It was brilliant attacking play, and it was all because of those different profiles, offering different runs, plus of course the 2v2s out wide as well. Something else that we saw in United's attacking play at Wembley the other day was the usage of minimum width. Players playing very narrow and close to each other, close proximity, meaning there is always an option on the ball. So this is normally going to mean that, you know, should Dalot or Ahmad have it, our right-hand side players, should they have the ball, the players on the left-hand side are most likely going to be tucked a little bit more central. So rather than being on the touchline on the other side like this, they're actually going to close it off. They're going to come really narrow, really compact. Now what this means is that as Ahmad gets the ball and perhaps looks to come inside, with all the players central, it means they are all in close proximity, and that is when you can again see those nice knitting moves in the final third of the pitch. And once again, you guessed it, we did see this at the weekend against Manchester City. This is minimum width. We can see our players all nice and close to each other. Lisandro Martinez down here, for example, is our left back. He's not exactly providing the width, is he? He's tucking in to the attack. Now, what's the benefit of this? You get players close to each other, you can play quick 1- and 2-touch football, like rondos, which these players do all week in training. It's perfect. And that's the other thing to note from this game, the technical ability of the players on the show. Bruno Fernandes is great at this 2-touch football. Ahmad is great at it. Kobbie Mainoo is great at it. Mason Mount, Xerxes when he comes into the team. I actually don't think Casemiro is bad at it either. We have players, suddenly, that are excelling in these tight spaces. And this is really good. Like I said, it's where someone like Xerxes could fit into the team quite nicely, because he loves to play in this way. Popping the ball about. We're seeing dummy runs in the final third. We're seeing combination play. Look at all these players close to each other. There is always an option on the ball. And these players, because they're quality footballers, are able to find these options. Feeding the ball through the lines to Kobbie Mainoo, who's going to lay it off first time. We've got the Bruno Fernandes dummy, and then Casemiro plays the ball wide to Marcus Rashford. It's really effective, But again, you can see Rashford isn't exactly wide. He's still within the width of the penalty area. This is minimum width at full effect. Players close to each other, quick 1-2 touch football, getting us into the final third, getting us in on goal. It's really effective attacking play. But there is also another benefit of it as well, and that is the ability to sustain attacks. So you can see initially United are moving forward at quite a pace here in towards the final third. Minimum width is evident. We can see lots of players close to each other in the final third of the pitch. Now on this occasion, we are going to get ourselves into the box. Lots of players in the penalty area, lots of players to aim for, but it doesn't quite work. It doesn't quite work. You know, City get a lot of numbers back and they are able to clear the ball. But this is actually a good thing for United, because look how many players have been forced from City into their own penalty area. I believe we've got 7 there plus the goalkeeper. Which means as this ball comes out, you know, City clear the ball away, Maguire has all the time in the world to pick the ball up again. This is a real strength of minimum width. When you apply minimum width, you get players close to each other and in the penalty area. The opposition, again, naturally, cannot leave you open in the penalty area, which means they have to drop their own players into the penalty area. If their players are dropping into the penalty area, they're not higher up the pitch. It's pretty obvious, right? But like I said, that means when they do clear it, we are able to suffocate them. We are able to get to the ball and then bring on that next wave of the attack. Again, you can see the minimum width, Rashford up here, fairly narrow, but also Lisandro Martinez tucked in as well from left back. Really effectively, actually. And it allows United to cycle the ball forward once again. This is just a few seconds later. Maguire was able to win that ball, feed it forward. Ahmad goes on the attack again. Once again, we've got lots of players in the penalty area. Ahmad goes into Kobbie Mainoo, who turns, plays the ball to Bruno Fernandes, who puts in a really nice ball. And again, we get no XG from this because there is no shot as a final action. But you can see how dangerous it is from United. This is really good attacking play. It's brilliant. I just quickly wanted to interrupt the video there to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, jerseyfifa.com, the home of affordable football kits. If you use the link in the description down below, you will find yourself a website which has all of the newest releases, home shirts, away shirts, and actually even old classic shirts as well. And if you don't actually want to wear the shirt yourself, I've heard they make a pretty good background display as well. So if you want to get yourself a shirt, use the link in the description and use code JerseyFIFA for 10% off your order. Go check it out. The last thing that I quickly wanted to touch on for the Manchester United attack, why it's so exciting and what we saw at the weekend, is the usage of transitions. United have been brilliant in transition for a long time now. Again, Rasmus Højlund is great on the counter-attack. Garnacho is great. Marcus Rashford is a brilliant runner in behind. Bruno Fernandes has an eye for a pass, as does someone like Casemiro. There's a lot of options here for United. It's really dangerous when we play in transition. But not just natural transitions, you know, when we defend deep and counter-attack, but also artificial transitions. Now, this was something that we spoke about a lot last summer, and we tried it during last season, and at times it worked, but not always. We've seen signs recently that it is working this year. Is it going to work as we come into the Premier League? We'll have to wait and see. But the idea is exciting. So what is an artificial transition? An artificial transition is when you create a transitional-like environment despite having the ball. So a transitional-like environment is the opposition having players high up the pitch and leaving space at the back, meaning you can move the ball forward quickly. How do you create that whilst dominating the ball? You draw them onto you. You take extra touches, you pass backwards at times to draw the opposition onto you, and then you pounce quickly in behind. And there's a really effective method of doing this. It's called up, back, and through. It's a really effective method. United tried to use it last season, and we saw it in this game. And Casemiro in particular is pretty decent at it. So what you do is you play the first pass up the pitch, a forward pass, you know, perhaps into a central midfielder, or sometimes it'll be a striker. Now, of course, the opposition don't like you doing this, so they lock on and try and go aggressive. What you play next is the back pass. So we've had the up pass already, you're now going to play the back pass. Often back to the same player, or it might be back to another central midfielder. But this, in the opposition's eyes, is a negative pass. As you pass backwards, opposition teams use this as the trigger to try and squeeze a little bit higher. I mean, United do this themselves. When the opposition play backwards, you use that as the trigger to go and get the ball. So the up pass has been played, the back pass has been played. Now this has drawn the opposition onto us. Now, if we are able to play the through pass to complete the up, back, through method, the through pass, if you can play it effectively, you have very quickly got yourselves into space, and suddenly you can get in behind the opposition, and it looks like a transition. You see what I'm saying here? It's really effective attacking play. It's difficult to execute, but when it works, boy oh boy does it work. And again, we saw it in this game. Casemiro has got the ball deep, and he's going to play the pass up. This is the first pass up. towards Toby Collier, I believe it is, on this occasion. It is. Now next we've got the back pass. Collier plays the ball backwards. Now again, this negative pass is always the trigger for the opposition to be aggressive and look to apply pressure. And that happens. We can see as the ball goes backwards, Manchester City try and get numbers around Casemiro. Casemiro on this occasion is actually too good for them on the ball and plays the through pass, the up, back, through. This is the through pass, this is the killer pass. It goes through all of these Manchester City players, it takes them out of the game. Then we see a sort of false nine approach from Bruno Fernandes. Again, Joshua Zirkzee has been signed, so he could do this. Sancho could do this. Bruno Fernandes can do this. You can suddenly see, though, this now looks like a counter-attack, but we've actually had the ball the whole time. Bruno Fernandes chucks the ball into the channel, and then you just know the threats of this United team. Rashford, Garnacho, again, it could be Højlund. It's really, really dangerous. I believe Marcus Rashford hits the post on this occasion, but you can see the threat that this causes, and you can see that United have different ways of attacking. We can see the transition threat, the artificial transitions, the usage of minimum width, players in close proximity, but also the effect of having players that want to run in behind, want to come towards the ball. United have a lot of variety in their attacking play, and that has to be a positive going into this season, and I'm quite excited about us in the final third. We just need to actually work on getting the ball there. Once we're there, I think we look really good. We just need to improve in the first phase. I might do a video on that later in this week. Let me know in the comments if you want that. But for today, we're finished there. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.